Hey everyone, this is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the first impressions drive of the 2023 Kia Niro EV. We're out here in San Diego, California for a first taste of this entirely new generation of Kia Niro. The new Niro is available with 3 different electrified powertrains, a normal traditional hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, and an EV. Today we'll be driving the EV, but look forward to seeing impressions on the other 2 powertrains when we get them back at the DMHQ in Michigan. But I wanted to take you guys for just a quick first impressions drive here in the Kia Niro, this totally new, very striking looking car that jokingly I like to say kind of looks like an Audi R8 because of these arrow blades here on the back. Kind of sweet looking. They do actually serve a purpose as well. They're for aerodynamics. They do actually have a cross. I mean, this is open space through here. The air is able to flow through and kind of wrap around here behind the taillight. But all Audi R8 jokes aside, I think it's a pretty attractive looking thing. I think honestly those arrow blades save this from being too boring looking. We've got the heartbeat, as they call it, DRLs here up front. Since of course this is an EV, we have our charge port up here for our level 2 or level 1 and 2, and then level 3 charging down there. Would like to go without having a cover for our level 2, but is what it is. Charge port in the front, always kind of weird to me, but it fits the design language of the car pretty well, and you don't have to worry about being asymmetrical that way. No Charlie with me today. It's just me, but I will be joined for the driving portion by my friend Bev. So when you see someone in the passenger seat, just know that that's who it is. We'll have some good conversation here about what it's like to drive the new Kia Niro EV. Powering the Niro EV, we have a 64.8 kilowatt hour battery and a 150 kilowatt electric motor. Power sent to the front wheels, and thanks to fast charging, this thing's able to go from 10 to 80% in 15 minutes. So you are able to fast charge this Niro EV, and it's going to make this thing pretty convenient for going on road trips, driving long distances, whatever. Total range, Kia claims 253 miles. And what's nice about this over the Chevy Bolt is you can actually charge it faster than many hours. So that is a good thing. And apologies to Charlie for not being the biggest EV expert, but at least I can appreciate that this thing is able to actually charge quickly. All right, cool. Let's take a look at some of the different amenities here. We'll take a look in the back. First ever power liftgate on a Niro. And we have it here on this Niro EV. A little bit of room here under the trunk floor. Got a little carpet here. These seats fold down, of course, not an entirely flat surface, but pretty dang close. You've got a good amount of room with these seats folded down. Check that out. 105 cubic feet of storage space here in the back. Pretty good. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and close this. We'll fold these seats back up, and then we'll see how much room we have here in the back seat. Kia claims we've got a couple more inches of legroom than the outgoing Niro. Just over 2 more inches. We'll take a look at that here. All right, so sitting back here now, you can see this. This came down when I folded the seats down, but we've got a little armrest there with some cup holders. Sitting back here, I do have just enough leg room. My legs are kind of close. Sitting behind myself here, I am 5'11", and I've got enough room. Headroom is pretty good as well. We do also have heated rear seats back here. And speaking of the seats, actually, let's go ahead and step up front before we talk about materials. But here's the back seat in all of its glory. Not too much back here to see. Okay, let's step up front and bring the Niro EV to life. Cool. So similar steering wheel up here to what you get in the EV6. In fact, it may be the exact same one. Light gray color in here, and that continues to our seats as well, which again, very similar to the EV6. This design up here, kind of a peculiar look, like that guy from Monsters Inc. I'm forgetting his name, but it looks quite a bit like him. USB-C ports in the side of each seat, and well, the seats are made from eucalyptus leaves. So that's quite peculiar. They feel decently premium, a little bit spongy, if I had to say. They aren't really the softest material. They're kind of like, if you can hear that in my fingers. So, but they do feel decent. Cooled seat works great. It goes very quickly and it's quite cool. We have heated and cooled seats here in this Niro EV, as well as a heated steering wheel. Dial shifter similar to what you get in the EV6. Pretty good amount of room here in the console area. We've got 2 cup holders that do push in and extend back out. We've got wireless Apple CarPlay, a 10.25 inch touchscreen display here, 20 inches of uninterrupted screen, I suppose, even though it's kind of interrupted here because there's no screen, but it's one big piece of glass that's 20 inches that goes right across. Digital gauge cluster here. We've got a couple different drive modes that change the look of the cluster: sport mode, eco mode, and normal mode. No white face gauges in normal mode. That is nice to see. And our sport gauges look a little less childish now. We don't have that weird carbon fiber print that we used to have. Just a nice simple silver display. Put that back into normal mode. We have paddle shifters here on the steering wheel that control your regen. Of course, down increases your regen, and up decreases your regen, except this is down and this is up, so they're a little bit backwards, but traditionally up, that'll decrease your regen. Traditionally down, that'll increase. We've got a Harman Kardon stereo system in this car. Stay tuned to Daily Motor. I won't be doing a sound system review on this particular Niro, but when we get one back at HQ, Charlie will certainly have that for you guys. And speaking and going off of this whole weird materials thing, the headliner is made out of recycled wallpaper. I don't know exactly how they can tell that it's wallpaper when they're making the headliner, but kind of I mean, it really just feels like a headliner, maybe a little bit cheaper, but kind of cool to introduce some of these different materials that you don't normally get in normal cars. Down here, our climate control display cycles through either a navigation menu or a climate menu. I honestly usually just leave this on climate, very similar to what you get in the EV6, if not the same. And I don't really see any need to have it on navigation, especially if you are using Apple CarPlay. The only reason to have it on navigation is to get access to your volume knob, which is right here on the left-hand side. But if you do have it in climate, you can use volume controls here on the steering wheel, so you don't really need to switch it back and forth. But if you really have to have that volume knob, you are able to operate that here on the navigation and other menu there. But on the climate menu, this becomes a temperature knob, as you can see here. A couple different USB ports, USB-A and USB-C, as well as a traditional 12-volt, 180-watt charger there. Glove compartment with a Monroney, but pricing has not yet been released on the Niro EV, so we don't have pricing, obviously, yet. But if we do have pricing by the time this video goes up, you all will have already seen it in the intro graphic. As far as fuel economy goes, 113 mpge as a combined rating, 126 city, 101 highway. Again, you all will have seen that on the intro graphic, but whatever. Final assembly point for this car is Korea. Everything in here feels pretty decent. There's a slight rattle here on this door panel. You guys will hear that in the drive, but other than that, it's a pretty solid feeling interior. Interesting use of materials. I mean, everything comes together pretty well. Let's take a look at the frunk before we get on the road and take this car for a drive. We've also got to wait for Beverly. I don't know where she is. We'll take a look here in the frunk. So a less traditional frunk than we're used to, but we see similar things in other Korean Kia and Hyundai products. We just have this little compartment here in the front, similar to the Ioniq 5. And you can just store a couple small things in here. There's a net, so whatever you store in here doesn't fly around. Yeah, so that's just your little frunk area. Otherwise, in here we've got some battery coolant and our traditional car battery here to get things started. But there you go. Good walk around there of the Niro EV. We'll go ahead and hit the road here in a second and give you some driving impressions on the Niro EV.
Go forward.
Early ride impressions here.
Can off-road a little bit.
Yeah, mild off-roading. About 6 inches of ground clearance.
Yeah, you gotta go far left.
Far left. Let's test out this 201 horsepower.
Okay, that was a core workout.
So regen is done with these paddles on the steering wheel. You can adjust up for less regen, or you can adjust down for more regen, and if you want the car to come to a complete stop, you hold the paddle and it'll completely stop. No propulsion sound that I've been able to find, unless maybe it's in the infotainment. Do you think that's possible? It would probably be setup, vehicle. That's a cool looking menu though, all the purple in there. Convenience? No, it wouldn't be convenience, would it? I don't think we have propulsion sound. Because in the Kia EV6, you have like all these different modes of propulsion sound that you can set.
I mean, I could look for it.
I don't think we have it. I think they probably would have bragged about it in the briefing if we had it.
No, most automakers don't like to talk about their fake sounds.
Oh, fair enough.
Are you doing one pedal?
Yeah, well, you set the one pedal just with the paddles. There's no like one pedal drive setting. You have to use the paddles, which I would kind of like to see a one pedal drive setting, but Kia and Hyundai are really not big on that. They like to do it on the fly. I think that this is kind of like it's like a less frills EV, like takes itself less seriously, kind of just, I don't know. Like I think it would make sense for them not to have propulsion sound in this car. Because as they said, this is not the emotional choice. This is the utilitarian choice for an EV. If you want to be emotional, then you have to have the EV6.
Apparently it's free because it doesn't cost anything.
Oh, the car? I know, yeah, $0. There's some road noise in here, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah.
A little bit of road noise. I don't know if that's just the road surface, but it seems a little bit loud in here.
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we switch road surfaces, we'll be able to report back on that. But I'm a fan of the steering feel. It's pretty light steering. I don't know if that'll... Ooh, we've got some better response there in sport mode. Better throttle response. Steering tightens up slightly. This is a different gauge cluster view than you normally get with sport mode in Kias. Usually it's like that black carbon fiber, but it's like a silver look in this car. Eco mode looks just about the same. And normal mode, we don't have white-faced gauges. We've got black-faced gauges. I'll try driving in sport mode for a second. Bev, I'll try not to give you
I don't get
whiplash or motion sickness. You don't get motion sickness? That's
I'm
good.
an NPC. I have no feeling.
NPC.
I am devoid of emotion.
Did you know that the headliner is made out of recycled wallpaper? How do they know if it's wallpaper? What do you think they...
How do you rip the glue? It's not sticky.
I don't know. Do you think they're going into people's houses and like ripping wallpaper?
I don't see a wallpaper recycling bin.
Right, so, and generally when people take wallpaper off their house, they don't recycle it, do they? Because it's like nasty.
Yeah, because it's glue and...
I think maybe they could have been less specific. They could have just said recycled paper, and then it would have been more believable.
It could be from, maybe there's a partnership with construction companies or renovation companies.
That's actually, that's probably the
they're
most.
looking for ways to be sustainable. And I mean, when you renovate a house, it's like it's basically like 2-3 dumpsters, and you're just putting materials in there rather than, let's say, taking those to a landfill.
Take them to Kia.
Take them to Kia.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes the most sense. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, this feels like a headliner. And then the seats are made from eucalyptus leaves. They do.
It feels like packing material, actually, the headliner. You know, like when you buy, buy a TV or speakers,
and it comes in that brown, that molded
kind of
paper.
Cardboard, if it's not styrofoam, it's not.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take back what I said about road noise, because it's pretty quiet on this surface. It must have just been that road surface back there.
Which means in Michigan it's just going to be annoying.
I was going to say. Yeah, we're in California right now, and the roads are quite nice out here. So a lot of standard safety assist or driver assist on the new Kia Niro. All of your front collision, rear collision, radar cruise, steering assist, all that stuff comes standard on this car. So that is pretty neat. Well, just see how this works. This is like the EV6. You can switch what that does.
Oh I've never driven the EV6.
Really? Okay.
But this is also in Sportage, the new Sportage.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to feel about that. We spent some time with the EV6, and I was kind of getting annoyed with this to a certain level because I would forget what screen I'm on, and like to not take my eyes off the road, I would just like reach down to adjust my volume, and then it would adjust my fan speed or my temperature. So, I mean, I get that they're trying to make better use of space, but I don't know.
It takes some getting used to.
It does, and
I just want if you're gonna make everything a screen, in my opinion, give me haptic feedback at least, so I know that I hit something.
Yes. Yeah, or just give me a physical. Just give me buttons. Buttons are even better than a screen.
You got two.
Yeah, yeah, I know. At least they give you a volume knob, but it's not always a volume knob because it could also be a temperature knob. So.
What it's gonna be is that the buttons that used to be in the center console are just gonna all disappear. This will just be a vanity mirror. And
yes.
Your steering wheel will be nothing but buttons.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like a QWERTY board.
They're just gonna get rid of the entire center stack.
And just move it onto the steering wheel because everything's just.
As much as I kind of appreciate these paddle shifters being used for regen, I don't know if you saw how like uncomfortable that was coming up to stop behind that car, of having to like balance your letting off the gas to let the car do its thing for regen, and also using the left-hand side paddle, the down paddle, to actually bring the car to a stop. So I don't know, kind of like a weird motion. Do an acceleration.
How much range have we used since we started?
Range is... No, it was 270 something, and now we're at 249. And we've only gone 8 miles. So we've used
twice
20 miles of range in 8 miles. I've just been driving normally too. I haven't been driving like a, what's the word?
Hooligan?
Yeah. Let's just try and just see. I won't take my hands completely off the wheel, but we do have steering assist turned on. You can see it's kind of taking me around this corner right here. Hold on for this corner, it's a little bit sharper. Steering assist. You can see it's going to start to steer me. Ooh, yeah, pretty good.
Interesting, it's not yelling at you. Oh, there
It just did. No, Kias usually let you go quite a while without yelling at you. So
I've noticed that it's not. I'm not saying this is specific to Kia or Hyundai or any particular automaker, but when you have adaptive cruise control and steering assist and you're on a highway, if the highway is relatively straight, it can take a long time.
Yeah.
For put hands back on.
Oh yeah, totally. So with this new Niro EV, Kia will actually give you 500 free kilowatt hours of charging, which is some amount. How many times could you charge on that? I have like no concept. Charlie would be disappointed. Charlie's like totally the EV expert, and usually he reviews all of our EVs. So this is kind of out of my comfort zone to be reviewing an EV, but
well, technically you are comfortable.
I am comfortable, actually. Yeah, and the eucalyptus seat feels quite nice. I have no real complaints. My back's a little bit sweaty, but I think that's my fault. I don't think that's the car's fault.
You're nervous because you can't answer on the spot what 500 kilowatt hours means.
That is true, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap up our first impressions drive here on the Kia Niro EV. We'll do one last walk around, show you the outside one more time, and then that will be the end. Look forward to us having one of these back home at HQ. We'll do the full suite of videos. We'll do a sound system test. We'll do a range test. If we have one that isn't the EV, of course, we'll do a fuel economy test and all of the stuff. All right, well, we're in somebody's neighborhood, so we'll wrap this up pretty quick, but thank you all so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.